Right now in the past, approximately 60,000 years ago, there were Isili dragons, giant rats, and giant storks. However, these were not the only living creatures in these lands. There was also an interesting human species living here. These humans, who could grow up to a maximum of 1.2 meters, were smaller than modern humans in every aspect. For example, their brains were about one-third the size of modern human brains. Despite this, they were capable of creating stone tools and using them to build and attempt to colonize their living areas. This human species, known colloquially today as hobbits, is known as Homo Floresiensis. But what made them so small? How were these humans able to survive among the giant creatures in this region, despite their tiny size? And most importantly, what caused their extinction? Today, the only human species living on Earth is Homo sapiens, modern humans. However, there were many other human species that once lived on the planet. For instance, there were the Neanderthals, Denisovans, and Homo Floresiensis, to name just a few. All these species emerged as a result of the evolution of the first humans, who left Africa and migrated all over the world, influenced by natural selection and environmental pressures. For instance, Neanderthals and Denisovans share a common ancestor that left Africa and migrated to both Europe and Asia. Those who migrated to Europe are known today as Neanderthals, while those who migrated to Asia are known as Denisovans. Although these two species share a common ancestor and resemble each other in many ways, there are differences in their DNA, which is why they are classified as different human species. Similarly, there was another human species that left Africa and migrated all the way to Flores Island in Indonesia. This species is called Homo Floresiensis. We do not know exactly when this human species reached Flores Island or how long they lived there, but skeletal remains of this species have been found in caves on Flores Island. According to these skeletal remains, this species must be at least 100,000 years old. In fact, the stone tools they used or made suggest that this species might be at least 190,000 years old, which means Homo Floresiensis must have come to this island a very long time ago and lived here for thousands of years. However, how they came to this island remains a mystery, as the nearest land is beyond dangerous waters, about 9 kilometers away. At that time, there is no evidence that this human species could make boats or ships. Therefore, perhaps Flores Island was not originally an island, but rather connected to the mainland, and later became an island due to rising water levels or tectonic movements. We cannot say for sure right now. What we do know is that Homo Floresiensis looked very different from us, with an average height of 105 centimeters. The reason they are called hobbits is because they resemble the small, hobbit-like creatures in J.R.R. Tolkien's fictional world of Middle-earth. Tolkien's hobbits are fictional, but the findings on Flores Island's Liang Bua cave show that our world had its own version of them. When these skeletal remains were first discovered by archaeologists, they were initially thought to be the remains of modern human children. However, the skulls had distinct brow ridges not found in modern humans, and the 20-year molars were fully developed. This indicated that it was an adult, not a child. It was later confirmed that the skeletal remains belonged to a different human species, known as Homo Floresiensis. This species had a brain roughly one-third the size of ours and an unusual body structure. For example, their hip bones were wide, collarbones were short, and shoulder joints were positioned quite far forward. Additionally, this human species had very large, flat feet. The evidence suggests these hobbits hunted stegodons and giant rats on the island. In fact, the stegodon bones showed signs of butchery, suggesting these little people not only hunted and consumed the local wildlife, but may have even domesticated them. Further excavations in later years have led to even more intriguing discoveries. For example, in a cave on Flores Island, approximately 72 kilometers from Liang Bua Cave, hobbit-like fossils have been found, along with stone tools. Studies suggest some of these discoveries are approximately 700,000 years old. And while the remains may not directly point to the hobbit species, many anthropologists believe these remains belong to either the hobbit species or their ancestors. Moreover, another excavation on Flores Island revealed stone tools estimated to be about 1 million years old. Assuming all these artifacts and remains were made or used by the hobbits or their ancestors, we could conclude that the hobbit lineage reached Flores Island around 1 million years ago. This time range suggests the hobbit lineage roamed the earth long before modern humans and explored these lands. Despite all this, we still don't know why Homo floresiensis was so small. However, there are a few hypotheses. According to one hypothesis, this species may have developed a genetic or metabolic disorder, causing their short stature. Examples include microcephaly and Down syndrome. But most scientists no longer support this hypothesis, as no evidence of such disorders has been found in Homo floresiensis remains. Moreover, the 700,000-year-old fossils suggest the hobbits were a long-lasting species rather than a diseased group. Another hypothesis posits that after arriving on the island, this human species may have started shrinking due to limited resources. The scarcity of resources on the island may have exerted selective pressure, leading to the death of tall individuals who consumed more energy, while smaller individuals who consumed less energy survived. This kind of dwarfism may have occurred in just a few 100,000 years. We do not yet know why the hobbits were so small or where they came from. Human species at that time did not have the ability to travel long distances over land or sea. Moreover, even during the Ice Age, Flores Island's closest neighbor was miles away. Genetic analyses might theoretically answer this question, but so far, no DNA has been extracted from hobbit remains. This is because DNA molecules struggle to survive in hot, humid conditions like those found on Flores Island. While we can't answer these questions definitively, we may have some clues about how the hobbit lineage ended. There might be a connection between our presence and the extinction of Homo floresiensis, as the last known traces of this species date back around 50,000 years. Modern human remains on Flores Island date back approximately 46,000 years. Furthermore, excavations have found traces and remains of early humans in caves previously inhabited by the hobbit species. So, after we arrived on the island, the hobbit lineage may have gone extinct. In fact, we might not only be responsible for the extinction of the hobbits, but other human species as well. Evidence suggests that as our species spread across the world, Neanderthals, Denisovans, and other human species began to go extinct. Interestingly, it appears that we not only wiped out other human species, but also megafauna, known as giant creatures. If you want to learn how humans wiped out megafauna, you can watch my video on this topic. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video to support me.